Coming up on Hoge Jahns, it is a midweek preview episode with the Bears playing on Black Friday against the Eagles. Bo Wulf from PHLY will join us. We got your over-unders, your predictions, all of the big questions going into this big Black Friday game between the Bears and the Eagles. Hoge Jahns starts right now. What's up? Welcome in. Hoge and Jahns back with you. Black Friday. The Eagles are going for the blackout. Jahns, they're going to go black uniforms, and they're asking the fans to wear black in the stands. That rhymes. I didn't mean to do that. Which, by the way, so are the Blackhawks.
I was about to say, yeah. Copying the Blackhawks. Okay, cool. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah, it is Thanksgiving, and we hope maybe you're listening to this as you're driving to see family or something like that. I wanted to get this out for you guys. So happy to Thanksgiving wherever you are watching, listening. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. We are very thankful that you are here and a part of this show. As always, our Black Friday sale ongoing for our diehards. Now, everyone else, if you're not a diehard, that's okay. I mean, we highly encourage you become a diehard. You can the sale, at least what's left over from the sale, in terms of inventory, will be available for you on Friday. But in the meantime, if you are a diehard, you can get that Hoge and Jahns collection, or really any of our CHGO merch, by scanning that QR code. We got shirts that are up to 90% off on there. And I think everything is at least 30% off. So a great sale going on right now. If you want to become a diehard, get early access to that sale, you can use code Jahns, Jahns. It'll also give you access to all of Jahns' writing and our insider analysis column that's out this morning too.
Vic Fangio versus Ben Johnson. That is the lead of our column this morning.
It's a great matchup. It's one of the better coaching matchups. We had Brian Flores versus Ben Johnson twice this year. This is at that level. Plus, you have the Bears connection with Vic Fangio. And the Eagles are, frankly, just a better team, too. So it's a high-stakes game. Jahns are playing for the 2 seed. Isn't that incredible? It's November 26th, and the 2 seed is on the line in the NFC.
I like that we're talking about playoffs instead of coaching changes here. The idea that this is a statement game isn't lost to me. I think we overrate such things, but given how this season has played out, all the close wins, the bad quarterbacks, like if you're on the pessimistic side of the Chicago Bears season, like this is a big game just in terms of how you feel about the Bears' success this year, like win or lose. That's how I even view it in that, that capacity a little bit as well.
The conversation changes quite a bit if you win this game. The Bears are, I don't know how seriously they're still being taken in the national conversation, but you go into Philly and you win this game, I think all of a sudden the Bears are on everybody's radar and what's going on. And by the way, the Ben Johnson Coach of the Year candidacy would also probably get quite a big boost with this type of win.
I would argue even the same thing would happen if they're competitive to the finish, whether that's a game-winning drive that finally stalls for Caleb Williams, or it's Jalen Hurts leading his team down the field and the Eagles kicking the game-winning field goal. Like if this is a competitive game from start to finish, I think that partially changes the conversation about the Bears' success this year as well.
Well, let's start the conversation with the Eagles because they are a fascinating team. Of course, coming off the Super Bowl, still very, very good. A lot of talent up and down the roster. And despite having the same record as the Bears, who, a lot of people would say are overachieving at 8-3. A lot of people think the Eagles are underachieving at 8-3, not just with the record, but especially how this offense has looked at times. And no one better to jump in on the show and give us some answers on what's going on in Philly than Bo Wulf, who covers the Eagles. He hosts the PHLY Eagles podcast on our sister network in Philadelphia, PHLY, part of ALLCITY, an all-city battle this weekend between CHGO and PHLY. It should be a lot of fun. Bo's great. I go on his show a bunch during the season to talk about some of the more national stuff. And so it's his turn to come on Hoge and Jahns. Here's Bo. All right, let's bring in our guy, Bo Wulf from PHLY. Bo, what the hell is going on with the Eagles?
Well, it's funny, these two teams 8-3. I feel like you guys must be over the moon in Chicago. Eagles fans 8-3. It's like they're ready to set the city on fire.
And the spread is still 7, though.
That's right. Yeah, I mean they're coming off an ugly loss, a 21-point collapse against the Cowboys. One that sort of laid bare some of the problems that they've been having. And they have relied all season and sort of puffed their chest out, from Nick Sirianni about their ability to win one-score games, even though the entire history of the NFL tells us that is not a sustainable model. And so it came back to bite them in this game, and we'll see how they respond on Friday.
So we're not talking about how that's not a sustainable model here. Quite.
I know there's two teams.
We'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. But that's a matter of expectations.
Yes.
Correct? That's the Eagles are Super Bowl champions. The expectation is they should be winning handily in this game, and that's where some of the angst is, right?
Yeah, and all of the angst really is on offense. I mean, they had some injuries on defense in that game, and there have been some ups and downs. The pass rush wasn't great against the Cowboys, but really all of the angst is on offense and has been all season long, because it is not unfair to say that the collection of talent on offense is, should be top 5 in the NFL. And they're a below average offense right now. They're in the 20s in success rate. They're barely average in EPA per drive. It has been ugly. This last game with AJ Brown was the first time all season he's really been involved naturally in the offense at 8 for 110. But the running game especially has been a disaster. And after the amazing running success they had last year and sort of took them to the Super Bowl, they doubled down. They give Saquon a raise. They've got all these high-paid offensive linemen. And they've been one of the worst running games in the NFL. And it's been slow for them to adjust to the fact that they cannot just rely on being able to run the ball to close out games.
So what changed? Because, I mean, the offensive line has largely been the same other than Lane Johnson getting hurt here in the last couple of weeks. But and Saquon Barkley's still there. So I know he's on the injury report right now. But what's going on that changed so drastically in the run game?
So I think that a lot of it, there are two things. One is on an individual basis, a lot of it is reaping the ramifications of last season. And EJ Smith, who is my colleague at PHOY, has talked to Jordan Mailata about this. And one thought is all of the tush pushes from last year and all of the running that they did last season really took a toll on the guys. And to a man, they're all playing worse than they did a season ago. And Jordan Mailata has talked about they didn't really feel like they had an offseason. He has not been as good. Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens in particular have taken a real serious step back, and they're both dealing with real injuries. And it's been a conversation for Eagles fans all year. Well, why don't you just give them a rest, instead of forcing them to play through? And that's not how offensive linemen are wired, but maybe somebody could be the one to sort of talk some sense into them. They have not been as good. And Lane Johnson has been injured and not quite as good. And Tyler Steen at right guard, who is the only new guy there, is replacing Mekhi Becton, and he's just not as much of a people mover. He's probably a little bit better in pass pro than he is as a run blocker. And so to a man, they're not as good. But beyond that, there's just the scheming of it, which Jeff Stoutland has done such an unbelievable job. It's not as varied as it has been in years past. They're running all these inside zones that are not going anywhere. They're not using the edges quite as much. And part of it is because they know the limitations that Cam Jurgens has as a center right now. He can't get into the open field quite as well. So they're not calling those as well. And then I do think that Saquon is probably pressing a little bit. I don't think it's the biggest problem with the running game. But I mean, again, we've seen over the NFL's history that it is very hard to sustain that level of rushing success. And so a lot of those natural things are sort of reverting and coming back to bite the Eagles.
I feel like what you're describing is what it's known as, the Super Bowl hangover. Now, I've never covered a Super Bowl winner, so I don't know what it is to see this play out afterwards. But is this kind of like a real thing coming to fruition here for the Eagles?
I think so. And also on the run game, by the way, Jalen Hurts not being involved as a runner has also really had an effect here. They have not had as many designed quarterback runs, and that has clearly been an organizational decision I think hopefully to save him for the playoffs, and that has affected it. But in terms of the Super Bowl hangover, I mean, there are two reasons for that, right? One is the physical toll that it takes on you, and that is absolutely real. And then, there's the emotional toll and sort of like the locker room dynamics where, this is a classic, disease of me, whatever you want to call it, where everybody, you get to the mountaintop and, okay, now I want mine. And I think that's part of the dynamic that's happening right now. Everybody knows about like the Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown drama. I think that's probably part of it. AJ Brown himself said that like he didn't find winning the Super Bowl to be that personally satisfying. He was surprised by that. And I think it is very hard to sustain success. And there's no doubt that they are feeling that and also feeling the pressure of it. And I think the coaching staff especially sort of feels the heat on that front.
So is the thinking here that they're just a really good team that, let's say it is a hangover, that they're just going to get to December, press the buttons that need to be pushed, bring it all together? Or is there real fear that this is not something that can be, look, they're a good team, they're going to make the playoffs, but you know what I'm talking about? Like, what is this going to look like in January?
Yeah, I think to me, I am skeptical that they're going to be able to just flip the switch on offense. And for all the, we've seen it now for 11 games. They haven't really been able to do that. It feels like their philosophy has been just don't turn the ball over. And when you have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts himself, and all you're doing is playing sort of prevent offense, like don't make a mistake. It's like I don't know, I'm not a big car guy, but like taking your Maserati and just going to the grocery store, right? Like they're not letting it fly. And what is maddening to me is that part of the reason they're doing that is because they have so much faith in the defense, and that the defense is that good that okay, we don't want to mess things up for the defense. And to me, it should be the opposite, right? Like having an awesome defense should embolden you to take more risks on offense and search for big plays more. And they haven't really done that. And some of it is on Jalen too. Like Jalen has some turndowns where he doesn't want to throw into tight windows. And I think it's been beaten into him that he shouldn't turn the ball over. And so what we've talked about lately is the problem is that they're sort of doing both. They're coaching Jalen to be very, risk avoidant, but also calling plays that are risk avoidant. And if you trust the quarterback, then you should be able to just trust him to not make the scary throws in the flow of the offense while still searching for big plays. And that has been a problem. And then the defense, the question is, can they be as good as they looked the previous 2 weeks when they shut down the Packers and the Lions to an awesome degree, and then they were just okay against the Cowboys. And so if the offense is not going to pick up its slack, they need the defense to be absolutely elite as it was in the playoffs last season. And with some injuries mounting up, there's some question about whether they can do that.
Yeah, what went wrong against the Cowboys? I know there's a viral clip of, gosh, I forget which special teamer it is on the Cowboys, but like, how did things break down for the Eagles after jumping out to a 21-point lead?
Bunch of self-inflicted wounds, as they would point to. I mean, they had 14 turnovers, which is the most they've had since Sirianni's first game in charge in 2021.
You mean penalties?
Penalties, I'm sorry. 14 turnovers would be
that's incredible. It came down to a field goal.
That'd be crazy, yeah. 14 penalties, including several that like negated big plays on offense. So that's one thing. They did have several turnovers. One of them on a very, just a stupid play from the punt returner, Xavier Gipson, who fields a punt at the 1 yard line and then fumbles the ball inside the 10. Defense then bowed up and actually forced a turnover on downs, but neither here nor there. Saquon has a fumble, his first of the season. That stuff's bad. And then, it's not so much that they took the foot off the gas when they were up 21-0 from a pass run standpoint, because they just could not run the ball. And so they were passing the ball. But from more of a game management standpoint, they punted on 4th and 2 from midfield. They went for a 56-yard field goal when the game was tied that they probably could have gone for, stuff like that. And then on defense, the pass rush, which was ferocious against the Packers and the Lions in the first 2 games since Jalen Phillips came over, was just not very good against the Cowboys. And the Cowboys did a lot of chipping to stop that, and Dak gets rid of the ball quickly, but you didn't see the kind of ferocious penetration that you had seen from before. So that was the big thing. And then the injuries in the secondary were a factor, but really not until the very end of the game. That's when they piled up. And so I think that's more of a forward-looking concern than something that, affected the result of the game itself.
So I know you and I have talked a lot about Vic Fangio this year when I've come on your show. It's your turn now on our show to talk about what Vic has been for this team. And obviously we saw it last year with the Super Bowl, but it seems like with all the struggles on offense, that defense has really put this team this season on its back a lot this year.
No doubt. He's been awesome. He's probably the most popular person in Philadelphia. Like if you just did the Q rating or like approve, disapprove, nobody has a higher approval rating than Vic does, because they went through 2023 when the season collapses because the defense absolutely craters. They fire Sean Desai midseason, bring in Matt Patricia. It's a whole terrible thing. And they were supposed to hire Fangio when Gannon left, but Gannon sort of did this, behind the scenes thing, and that this is a whole thing. They had to pay for it. And so Vic comes in and turns around a defense that was like one of the 3 worst defenses in the league to basically the best defense in football last year. And he did it with a bunch of young guys, and he did it in a way that was sort of different than Eagles fans were used to the defense being built, because under Howie Roseman, it has always been defensive line first, front to back. And we're going to have waves and waves of nasty defensive linemen, 8, 10 deep. And we're just going to sort of paper over the secondary and hope that the defensive line wreaks havoc. And last year, this was a defense that was built back to front. The defensive line was good, but it was all about Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and Darius Slay and Vic having them just so sticky on the back end, and Zach Bond involved as well. And this year, it has been a little bit more fits and starts. The first half of the season, they were just okay, not great. And then once they got Jalen Phillips imported from Miami, and then Nolan Smith comes off injured reserve, and Brandon Graham is a part of things. Nakobe Dean comes off PUP and is all of a sudden looking like himself one of the best linebackers in football, aside from Zach Bond. It has been a little bit more like Eagles fans are familiar with, because the holes are in the secondary, where Adoree Jackson has sort of won out a competition as the second corner on the outside among a bunch of guys that you don't really want to win the job. And Vic has done things differently than he did last year, which I think is a testament to just how good he is as a coach. He is not, as you guys know, just dependent on what his scheme is, and he's going to fit guys into just whatever he wants to do. He assesses the strengths and weaknesses of the roster that he has, the players that he has, and he changes things depending on that. And, he's blitzed a lot more this season, because sometimes Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond are better at getting to the quarterback than the guys they have up front. He's played more man, and he's looked for answers in a defense that has more holes than it did last season. And I think he deserves, all the credit in the world for this Eagles team being as good as it is.
One of the impressive things about Fangio is how quickly he's endearing in a sense. And right?
It's the honesty, right?
Yes. That's how he went over the Chicago media. Like, he was only here for 4 years. But if it feels like 10 sometimes, Adam, right? The way they talk about him, especially with the 2018 season. But like before that, he took a bunch of, not a good group of personnel and turned them into a respectable defense.
Well, until Ben Johnson got here, I don't even think it would have been a bold take to say that he's been the best coach the Bears have had since Lovie Smith was fired. And I don't think that's controversial at all.
Yeah, it's probably similar here in Philadelphia. And I think the honesty is a real part of it. Like, sort of the gruff old man personality. He's not bothered by having to obfuscate and not tell the truth about what's going on. Like, he'll give you a straight answer. Oh, yeah, that was that guy's fault. Or, he hasn't earned getting on the field. And it is really nice, given the general press conference vibes we usually get.
He's not bothered by media members telling each other to shut up during his press conference.
Oh my God, it was so funny. I wasn't there yesterday because we were doing our show at the same time. But that was very funny, and he loved that.
I'm sure he did. I am onto his stick though. He really does love baseball, but this way that he goes from town to town and pretends like he's the biggest fan of that baseball team, just to try to endear himself to the fans. And it's worked everywhere, but it's definitely his shtick.
Yeah, I mean, he said the Phillies were his favorite team growing up. You know, he's from Pennsylvania.
Sure,
He watches every game. But yeah, I think he knows how to play that game. Yeah.
So how do you see this one playing out, Bo? Like which matchups are you watching? Wait, time out. So I don't know if you know this, but my guy here, Adam, has this love affair for Jalen Carter that I think is kind of crazy sometimes.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's crazy that I like Hall of Fame players.
Tell me about his impact this season. Tell me that Hoge is maybe too crazy or not too crazy. Like, how good is Jalen Carter? Like, is he the engine of the Philadelphia Eagles defense?
Well, he's no Darnell Wright, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. No, he has been a little bit less impactful this season than he was last season. He was dealing with some injuries in the beginning of the season, and the sack numbers are not there. But he gets so much attention. And the thing that is crazy to me is just how many snaps he plays. And this is a Vic thing. I mean, he's playing like 95% of the snaps. He takes like 3-4 snaps off a game, which at that position to me is nuts, especially what we are used to seeing in Philadelphia, which is sort of waves and waves of guys. He's really impactful against the run, and he hasn't quite made the splash plays as a pass rusher this season yet. I think people think it's coming. But yeah, coming into the season, the expectation, goes back to the expectations game, because it was internally like, okay, this is a defensive player of the year candidate. And that's how he played last season. This year, he has been very good, but just merely very good.
So not quite Hall of Fame.
Not this season, but that's okay.
There's time.
Last season, he was on that trajectory. I think it's fine. I don't think it's a crazy call.
No, I mean, look.
He's going to become the highest paid defensive player in football probably the first day of the league year.
Right. And look, there was a time where the Bears and now fans are going to get, and they do this. I get it. Look, let's start with this. Both Jalen Carter and Darnell Wright are good. Okay, they're both working out for their respective teams. There's no controversy there at all. But there was a time where Aaron Donald was one pick away from being a Chicago Bear. And the Bears had the opportunity to trade up and get him, and they didn't. And then he went on to the Hall of Fame. And so when Jalen Carter was coming out, it was like very obvious he was maybe the best talent in that entire draft, but then he was going to slip all the way to 9, and the Bears were sitting there on the clock. That was certainly a controversial move to trade back one spot, let the Eagles have him, and then take Darnell Wright. Now, I think it's worked out for both teams. Don't get me wrong. But having a true impactful interior defensive tackle like that, you see the difference that
he's
that
a difference
makes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Game wrecker all the time. All right. Prediction, is it too early for that in the week? What do you think here?
I do think the Eagles are going to win. This stuff that was worrying me about the defense and all the injuries they had, it seems like with the injury report coming out is going to be less of a concern. It looked like after the game on Sunday, they might have to play this game missing 3 of their top 5 guys in the secondary. And now it looks like it's only going to be 1 in Drew Makuba, the rookie who suffered a fractured ankle. So that feels a little bit better. Although I will tell you, I mean, I have to imagine that Ben Johnson is designing the game plan around Sidney Brown, the safety who now has to step in and play, because that is a guy who you can get wrong-footed very easily. I mean, he is like a missile, just going as fast as he can in some direction. And a lot of times that's the wrong direction. And so that is something that Ben Johnson is absolutely going to try to take advantage of. But I saw enough from the passing game against the Cowboys for the Eagles that makes me think that they are going to be able to turn that dial up a little bit more. And I do think they're going to respond with a pretty good performance here. And I think the pass rush will be better than it was last week. So I don't know if I have a score, but I feel like the Eagles win this game by, I mean, I don't want to just go to the line, but I feel like by about a touchdown.
Okay, fair enough. Bo Wulf, follow him at Bo_Wulf. Does a great job at PHLY. Help support our show, support CHGO, support PHLY too. And check them out because they do a great job across the board with all of their sports, just like here at CHGO. Thank you, Bo. We will talk to you soon.
Of course, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, great stuff with Bo. Appreciate him jumping on. And I don't know if I really have a better handle on what the Eagles are going to be on Friday than I did before that conversation, but that's not his fault. That's the Eagles' fault.
Yeah, that's just the Eagles. I do find it crazy that they're on the opposite side of the spectrum where they're winning close games and the pessimism is rampant as opposed to the optimism that's taken over Chicago here because of them.
Right. And he still picked them to win by a touchdown, which is the spread right now. So, all right, we got some big questions coming up. Your over-unders as well. Don't go anywhere. Predictions as well. But first, Jazzy, one touchdown can change everything. It might even change the outcome of the game on Friday. The crowd, the momentum, the game itself never gets old. Feel that same rush with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. And if you happen to be in Missouri, big news because DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me State. And the best part now for everybody, wherever you are, is that new customers bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Again, bet $5. If your bet wins, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code Hoge and Jahns. That's code Hoge and Jahns, Hoge and Jahns. Bet $5. Get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Adam, what kind of dreams did you have when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a football podcaster, Johnsy.
There weren't such things when we were kids, but I wanted to be a sports writer.
I knew the pod was coming, yeah.
You saw it? You know, the craziest thing about this podcast and its success, I got to be honest, it's like the merch and seeing people wear our merch. It still blows me away. Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Shopify even powers the CHGO merch store, just like this shirt I'm wearing.
That's right.
And the hoodie you're wearing. Yes, very good. Looking good. Shopify has got you covered with website creation, product descriptions, email, social media marketing, and more. They have all the AI tools designed to help you maximize sales. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity.
Look at that. The sound effects and everything. We've always done that here on the show. Now we got them in our ads. This is big. This is big. All right. Shout out to Shopify. Shout out to 3 big questions.
Are you ready?
Always.
Are you really ready? I don't think
no.
Let me pull them up. 3 big questions. Adam Hoge, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, rate your level of concern when it comes to Caleb versus Vic Fangio.
Concerned?
Probably not.
We're gonna have to hit the Vic sound effects pretty hard on this show. Yeah, no, my level of concern, Caleb versus Vic, not Ben Johnson versus Vic.
I changed it because I think Ben Johnson is going to have a sound plan. But remember, like the Bears said this week, where Fangio excels, and we saw this in 2018, it's not what you see pre-snap. It's just how much things change post-snap so quickly on you.
Yeah.
I remember in 2018, like didn't blitz much, but you never knew who that fourth rusher was going to be sometimes. Sometimes guys would drop in the coverage. Here comes a linebacker. I think the Eagles do some of the same thing. They try to keep that too high shell over you, or they shift it on you. So a lot of different things, I think, for Caleb Williams to decipher post-snap.
So, of course, I'm concerned because it's Vic Fangio and he does such a great job. However, I'm only going to say a 6 because Caleb Williams' decision-making has been getting better. I detailed this on CHGO yesterday. I had his game against the Steelers, Johnsy. I've been doing this over the last 5 weeks, so I don't have the whole sample size. But over the last 5 weeks, this was his best game in terms of decision-making. It was his worst game in terms of accuracy. So, got to get the accuracy figured out. But the decision-making, and you mentioned guys dropping back into coverage. TJ Watt dropped back into coverage on that whip route to DJ Moore, that touchdown. So I actually think he's seeing the field pretty good. I think he's making good decisions right now. It's going to be a tough test against Vic Fangio, but Ben Johnson's going to give him some answers to the test. So I think he's going to know the answers. The question is, get those feet set. How accurate is he? I'm more worried about the accuracy than the decision making in this football game.
Ben Johnson just does such a good job of scheming guys open. For me, if Caleb hits those shots that he didn't really hit against the Steelers, like if those connect immediately in the first quarter against the Eagles, I think they could be onto some good things against Vic Fangio, who I consider the best defensive coordinator that I've covered and right now in the league. My number, I'd probably put it around 6.5, 7 as well.
Okay.
All right, 2. This is for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest again, rate your level of concern when it comes to Jalen Carter versus the interior of the Bears' offensive line.
I'm going to give a similar answer out of respect to Jalen Carter, who I think is really, really good. However, we don't talk about the Bears' interior O-line a whole lot because they've just been solid, and they handle this stuff, and they don't really have a weakness right now. So look, it's a tough front. Jalen Carter's really good. Jordan Davis is good too. Let's not forget about him. But Joe Tooney, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, I think all have cases right now to go to the Pro Bowl. All of them. Darnell Wright too on the outside, but we're talking about the interior of the O-line right now. So I think they're going to be up for the challenge in this game.
Yeah, I'm looking at like a 5.5 on this. Jalen Carter, I know I'm being funny, kind of picking on you for the Jalen Carter love. I do think he's a fantastic football player. I think he's going to be a different challenge than the Bears have seen this year, and he's gonna win his fair share of matchups here. He's gonna be a problem. They're gonna double him, but that's what the Bears have done really the entire. It doesn't matter who they double. They're great at doubling at first, then kissing off the second level. They're moving the interior of that pocket, even on passing situations. It's been an impressive start to what I think has become a pretty darn good offensive line for the Chicago Bears.
Giving you an answer kind of combined to the last questions, I'll tell you the guy that I'm especially worried about, and Bo mentioned him earlier. It's Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean, who's now in the middle of that defense, back from injury, and he's looking really, really good. And they can bring him on pass rushes too. So if you're Caleb, if you're Ben Johnson, if you're the offensive line trying to sort through what's going on up front, you got to know where number 17, Nakobe Dean, is at all times.
Ben Johnson did such a good job of dialing up these shot chunk plays against the Steelers where that's a good pass rush. But a lot of times the Bears had like 8, like sometimes 8 guys in protection, like where it looks like a run play where everybody's pulling, but they're not. Like it's impressive stuff from Ben Johnson. All right, number 3. Is it time to start talking about how Ryan Poles did a good job this past offseason for the Chicago Bears?
Yeah.
Let me give you some context. I wanted to put this question in here this week because I think Howie Roseman, his counterpart for the Eagles, he's considered one of the best GMs in the game.
Mm-hmm.
He has his philosophies. The trenches are always strong in Philadelphia. But let's be honest, like Ryan Poles probably deserves some credit for what the Bears are right now at 8-3.
Yeah, 100%. I think I think it's a little bit of a different conversation because there's probably a little bit more of a obvious Ben Johnson influence on the roster than what Howie Roseman's been established now for a while doing this is probably the best GM in the league right now. So, but yes, Ryan Poles deserves credit because he's the one pulling the trigger on these moves, even though there's Ben Johnson influence, I think. But I guess what I'm getting at, John's, a little bit is almost every move, there seems to be a pretty significant coaching influence behind it. Does that make sense? Like even on the defensive, no, offensively, there's really not much to complain about in terms of the additions that they've made, right? So that's Ben Johnson's side of the ball. But even on defense, you look at like Nashawn Wright, okay, Al Harris connection. Look at, even DeMarco Jackson last week, Dennis Allen guy. Now, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. In fact, it's a really good thing. That's how an organization should work. You should have that cohesiveness. And I think that right now we're seeing that between the front office and the coaching staff. So, yes, is it time to start talking about that? I think so. I think we have been talking about it a little bit, but just maybe not, emphasized it perhaps enough.
Yeah, I think the conversations, plural, should probably start to increase if these wins keep adding up.
I'll give you another one, too. This Ozzie Trapillo thing is super interesting to me. I know that was just one game, but he played really well. And I don't know if we zoom out here. Theo was healthy on the injury report yesterday, so I don't know what they're going to. Wouldn't you be tempted to play Ozzie again on Friday?
Yeah, but coaches. Like, has Theo Benedict played poorly enough to lose his job?
He hasn't had a game as clean as Ozzie just did.
No.
But I also don't think he's played poorly enough to lose his job. Maybe that's decided in today's practice. I'm not sure. But my point in bringing that up was if all of a sudden Ozzie Trapillo turns into a solution at left tackle, I think now you're starting to look at that draft class this year, feeling pretty good about it. Colson Loveland, Luther Burden, Ozzie Trapillo, Kyle Monangai later. I mean, you can stomach the Ruben Hippolyte looking like a miss at this point and not really knowing what's going on with Shamar Turner.
Luke Newman came in and played quite well when Jonah Jackson got poked in the eye. Something happened to his eye. He played, 23, 24 snaps?
There's also he went the completely wrong direction, but that happens.
That happens. Was also in there as a fullback on some snaps early in the game. So, yes, the story about the Bears rookie class has changed. Put that in my takeaways. Become a diehard. All right, there's your 3 big questions.
Let's get to over-unders, and we'll take our second break and get to our predictions.
All right, hold on. I had my ad read already up. Hold on.
I can start if you want me to.
No, I got him. We got him right here.
All
right. This is from Tom Hagen. Tom Hagen, Adam. Here's another big question for you. Is one of my favorite characters in what movie?
Tom Hagen?
Come on.
No idea.
Dude.
It's not going to come to me. I have no idea.
The Godfather.
Oh, okay. I've seen it. I'm not a huge Godfather guy. I know.
Moving on. Over under number of Black Friday ads specifically target the football fans on the broadcast set at 2.5. I got one for you, Tom. Subscribe to be a diehard. Code Johns.
That's going to be on the Amazon broadcast?
It should get your 30% off.
Code Johns on there. We're in a different world.
You get your early access to our Black Friday merch deal and get cool shirts like I'm wearing and a cool hoodie like Hoge's wearing.
Hey, don't sell it short. We had that CHGO Walmart collaboration on Shark Tank. That happened.
Yes, it did. Big time.
Yeah. I'm going to say this goes way over 2.5.
Oh, yeah.
The whole point of this broadcast is to get people to buy stuff on the internet.
Pretty sure the entire game is an advertisement for something.
Yeah.
From Stony Island, over under set at 1. We'll make it 1.5. Italian beef versus Philly cheesesteak comparisons.
Yeah, it should be high. It should go over. I hope it does. I had a beef yesterday. I might go to JP Graziano's later.
Ooh. Sub sandwich, though.
I know. I usually don't get the beef there. You can get beef there, though. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Chardonnay. But you're right. I usually go with one of the subs. So good.
You're definitely going to get the clip of the cameras are going to one of the places where they're cooking Philly cheesesteaks. Absolutely.
Overrated.
Yeah, it's an easy one. Yeah, I agree. Give me Italian beef any day of the week. On the spot, over under references to the double doink, 1.5. You're definitely getting 1.
Maybe 1 just because they're like the last time the Bears went to the playoffs. Otherwise, I don't really see how it's relevant.
Oh, if you look at it that way, you'll definitely get a clip of it. I'm going to say 1. You get the clip of it.
Okay.
because they're going to talk about the playoff situations with the Bears. Obviously, what happened against the Eagles is perfect for them.
Playoffs?
Playoffs. From Juan, over, under, tush, push, successful plays for the Eagles. It can be a first down or a touchdown conversion. 3.5.
That's a little high. I'm going to go under. I haven't seen every tush push they've run this year. They've been stopped a couple times. And I liked what Dennis Allen had to say yesterday. The best way to defend it is to stay out of those situations.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they can do that.
From our guy B-Man, I'm going to say under as well. From B-Man, over, under, tight end catches for the Bears, 6.5.
Ooh, that's a lot. I'll take under.
I'll go over.
Okay.
Why not? Gonna go over. I think Colston Loveland and Caleb Williams are on to something. I think he'll get 4 or 5 himself. All right, from RHBKQ, over, under, missed explosive plays for the Bears, 2.5.
So that means like a drop or an errant throw when the guy's open. Unfortunately, it's kind of been a theme. I think they tighten it up a little bit, but you know what? I'll take the under. I'll say there's 2.
Okay. I'm going to say over, but just slightly 3. And maybe one of those is a potential run where the turf monster gets Kamanaga again. Over, under, the Sean Wright interceptions, half. I think he gets one. This is from Matt. I think he gets one. If Brisker doesn't knock down that last pass in Sunday's game, Wright had a pick 6.
Yeah. You know what? And Jalen Hurts had a couple turnover-worthy throws last week that didn't turn into interceptions. So sure, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take over. The Bears secondary is definitely getting one. Jalen Hurts only has 1 interception this year, by the way. Take note of that. Yes. This is from John. Times the Bears line up in a tush push formation, but run something from Ben's bag of tricks, half. Ben Johnson does not like the tush push.
Yeah, I don't think they line up in a tush push.
All right, how about this?
Yeah.
How many times?
Like Cole Kmet under center.
Yeah. Do you think Ben turns to his bag of tricks against Vic Fangio?
Yeah, there's something. I don't know what it is. There'll be something.
One play. There'll be something. One play. Yeah. Clayton, over under number of Bears players to leave the game early due to injury. 1.5.
It's football, man. Probably over.
Especially this Bears season. Yeah. Over. Last game it was Stevenson, Hippolyte, Jackson, and Dominique Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
From Morty, over under 1.5 times my pregnant wife tells me I need to calm down because my kids need a father. 1.5.
Over. Sounds
way
like
over.
That's an issue over there.
Yeah. Relax, Morty.
I like that though. Yeah. No, we'll take the over on that one. All right, we got to get to predictions. We will tell you what we think about this one. We'll also talk about the other Thanksgiving games happening tomorrow. Good slate of football games throughout the weekend, but especially the next couple days. So all of that is coming up. But first, hey, if you want to feel organized and confident in your finances, you need to check out Monarch. It's what I use. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean interface on your laptop or your phone. I've been using it all year. It's been really helpful to just get everything organized. Most people can't name all their financial accounts. I know I couldn't, or at least couldn't keep it organized. And now I can. And right now, just for our listeners, Monarch is offering 50% off your first year with code CHGO at monarch.com. It's built for people with busy lives. We're all busy. We're putting off our finances. Monarch is for you. They do the heavy lifting, linking all your accounts in minutes, allow you to categorize all your spending so you can get everything budgeted. It's been super helpful for me. So don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code CHGO at monarch.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code CHGO.
And Adam, I'm here to talk about Mando. If you're just a guy out at work, or if you're a reporter who gets quite sweaty in the press box and these scrums,
you might need to take some Mando and start passing it around.
Oh yeah, whole body deodorant. It pits your thighs, belly button, other places. Other places, just saying, it all works. It's clinically proven to block odor all day, control odor for up to 72 hours. Choose from a variety of fresh scents like bourbon leather, Clover Woods, Mount Fuji, Pro Sport. They have everything. Solid deodorant sticks, spray deodorants, a lot of options for you. Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with their solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, plus free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with exclusive code. Use code CHGO at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and say hello to long-lasting freshness.
All right, it is that time.
Predictions.
2 p.m. Friday, Black Friday. This game is on Prime Video. You do not need to be a Prime subscriber to watch this. They are making it available to everybody. That is important to note. Really, wherever you are in the world, if you have access to Prime, you have access to Bears at Eagles. The Eagles are a 7-point favorite. Johns, I saw this bounce down to 6.5 at one point, back to 7. Seems like that's where it's going to stick. What do you think?
I think this is the week the injuries, really a lot of different things catch up with the Bears. I think they're going to be competitive. I think you're going to see explosive plays from Caleb Williams. They might even lead in this game for a bit. But you're still missing Tremaine Edmonds. You're still missing TJ Edwards. You're still just getting back Jalen Johnson if he happens to play. So I think these injuries, just a lot of different things catch up with the Bears. But it's going to be a competitive game. And I think you can feel good about that by the end of it. So I'm going to take the Bears to cover. I'm going to take those 7 points, but I'm going to take the Eagles to win by a field goal. Let's say 26-23, Eagles in Philadelphia. I think it's going to be a statement game, albeit not a win, but you can feel good about where the Bears are even more, where they're heading under Ben Johnson after this one.
So I also have the Bears scoring 23 points in this game. I'm going to rattle off some things. I was watching the Eagles-Cowboys game very closely this morning. The Eagles 3 scoring drives, because they went up 21-0, right? So this was on Sunday. We've all established on the show the Eagles offense is struggling. Something's out of sync, something's out of rhythm. They're not clicking on all cylinders. And when they were able to go up to 21-0 on the Cowboys, Johns, I feel like it needs to be noted that it happened like this. They got a turnover on downs near midfield to start their first touchdown drive. Cowboys went for it on 4th down, didn't get it. So the short field went down and scored. Second touchdown drive, there were multiple penalties on that drive that extended the drive, including a roughing the punter call on the Cowboys that they actually could have challenged, and the refs would have seen that the punt was actually blocked or it was tipped, and so it shouldn't have been roughing. They didn't challenge it. That drive's over without that. Extends it, they score. Then the third one came off a Cowboys turnover. So even the points they scored in this football game to go up 21-0, they got a decent amount of help to do it. The Cowboys, meanwhile, came all the way back and won the game, obviously. But they did so in spite of this. They had a Dak Prescott interception in the end zone earlier in the game. Brandon Aubrey missed his first field goal of the season that was inside 68 yards. His only other miss the entire year was from 68. All right. And they had a turnover on downs after that crazy boneheaded special teams fumble that Bo mentioned earlier in the show. They didn't even capitalize on all that. And all of that, you would have thought there's no way the Cowboys come back, but they still did. There are cracks in the armor with this Eagles team. Their last 7 drives, Johnsy, against the Cowboys: punt, 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 miss field goal, fumble, punt. That's how that game ended after they got a lot of help to even go up 21-0. So I am not going to jump off the Bears train right now with these two teams going in different directions. The Bears have the belief. They're pulling these games out. The Eagles have a lot of problems, and the vibes are just completely different. Do I think the Eagles are the better team on paper? I do. Do I think the spread is way too high? I also think that. I also have it in the back of my head that every time the Bears go to Philadelphia, terrible things seem to happen, and they're either ugly games or complete beatdowns. I get all that. But if we're going to ride on this train and say this is a new era of Bears football, not the same old Chicago Bears, then I am going to pick the Bears until they lose. And right now, I'm picking the Bears to win this football game 23-20.
Wow. Good day for Dennis Allen's unit.
Good day for Dennis Allen's unit. We haven't even talked really about how Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon seem to be coming back this week. And I don't know if I'd be making this pick if I didn't see DeMarco Jackson play as well as he did on Sunday. I think they can survive. At linebacker, just like they did.
You need to protect the football.
Yes.
Actually, I like your pick. I'll be honest. I flirted with the Bears win, but I know these good things come to win at some point, but they're going to pick right back up against the Cleveland Browns.
Well, they got to play the Packers first.
Oh, yes.
But yeah,
Yes.
Don't overlook them. Why are you overlooking the Packers? Speaking of the Packers, that's the next game we're picking. We do have to do bold predictions. I don't know if you have one, but I didn't want to give it away on the over-under earlier because this was going to be my bold prediction. I went over on the trick play because I think the Bears score on a trick play in this game.
Bold predictions.
Would you count? What's the name of that play they ran against the Steelers? We've seen it a couple times at various levels of football this year. The double reverse.
Oh, did it have a name? I don't think I ever heard.
There's a name for it. Our guy Dan Casey, does all the plays. He's got a name for everything. Like that can turn into a pass.
Sure.
Teams have run it that way, so I like that. My bold prediction is probably what B-Man was getting to. I think it's a good day for the tight ends over the middle. Yeah. Fox noon, Packers at Lions. Lions are 2.5-point favorites on Thanksgiving, the first game. I know we got to move through these quickly. I'm going to go Lions by more than 2.5, obviously. Yeah, I think they might even win by a touchdown.
Yeah, Lions have really, I bring this up every year, they have struggled on Thanksgiving. 2 years ago, the Packers went in there and kind of turned their season around with a big win over the Lions. Last year, it looked like they were going to kill the Bears, and after all that, still came down to the end. And my preseason lock of the year, Johns, was that the Bears would cover +4 in Detroit on Thanksgiving, and they did. So, as much as I actually think the Lions should and will cover this 2.5, I'm going to go with the Packers. I'm going to go with the Packers just kind of based on history. The Lions have struggled to kind of put teams away in this game. So maybe it's a 1-point game. The Lions win, or maybe the Packers win outright. I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
The Packers, Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, go Bears.
There you go. All right. CBS. This is a good slate of Thanksgiving games. The Chiefs. Should have mentioned, by the way, this is the noon kickoff. They changed this. It used to always be 11:30 kickoff to start the thing. They've shifted things. So it's noon Central Time kickoff for Packers Lions, followed by 3:30 Chiefs Cowboys. So more of your traditional Sunday schedule on Thanksgiving, within the nightcap being at 7:20. So your afternoon game, 3:30 Central Time, Chiefs at Cowboys. Cowboys resurgent. Obviously, Chiefs have been much like the Eagles. Not impressive at times. Still, obviously, very good. Chiefs are a 3-point favorite.
Like Chiefs, not impressive, very inconsistent, but at the same time, you're watching that scoreboard last week against the Colts. At least I was. You just felt like they were going to win, right? That's what. Like I'm buying what the Chiefs are selling, and not so much what the Colts are selling in that capacity. But give me the Chiefs. I know the Cowboys are playing well. I know Matt Eberflus, like his defense is playing better. He's got new players. All that feels great for the Cowboys. But the Chiefs by 4, maybe here, maybe by field goal, maybe it's a push, but give me the Chiefs.
Gut feeling, I'm going with the Cowboys. Every time I buy into the Chiefs this year, they just burn me. So the Cowboys back home. They played well at home. Their offense is humming. Dak's looking great. George Pickens has been phenomenal. He's a little banged up. He got hurt in the end of that Eagles game, so we'll see what his status is if he could turn around and be 100% by this game. So that may affect things. That actually might be what this game hinges on. But I will take the Cowboys here.
I'd like to see him get his hands on more balls.
NBC and Peacock at 7:20, the nightcap tomorrow night on Thanksgiving. Finally get to watch Joe Burrow again. I'm so happy. Thank you. This game would have sucked without it.
Yeah.
We get Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. The Ravens are still a 7-point favorite, though, because the Bengals defense is god-awful.
You had all those Joe Flacco storylines, though. Just to return to Baltimore.
Give me Burrow. Sorry.
They're going to get the Joe Burrow boost. They're not going to win. Bengals cover, maybe a backdoor cover at the end. The Ravens, talking about resurgent teams, they definitely fit that description quite well. Ravens win, Bengals cover because of Joe Burrow. Maybe some magic at the end.
Weird things happen on Thursdays. Bengals win outright.
Get out of here.
Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Dude, Lamar Jackson doesn't look the same. The 7 points here is too much. I'm locking it up. Not that they win. I'm locking up that the Bengals cover.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
I'm locking the Bears cover.
Okay.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
I guess I am too, since I
picked them to win.
That doesn't count though, Nick. Don't mark that down. Real lock is the Bengals. Nick's been sending the results. I was actually on a pretty good heater for a while. Last week I only went 2-4. You went 0-6.
I should start paying attention to these.
On the season, I am 36-32, a little over 50%, 52.3%. I will take it. That's a winning record when it comes to spreads. John's is 27-40. Lock of the weeks. I'm 3-2. You're 1-1.
Oh, I guess I don't say them enough.
I like your. Well, we don't have to do it every week. We don't have to force it. You got to feel good about your locks. All right. We got to get out of here. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Check out the merch. Become a diehard. You get early access to the sale. 30% off everything. The Hoge Jahns collection is up there. Safe travels to everybody on the roads, flying, however you're traveling. And happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the food. We will be back. Are we going Friday night or Saturday? We decided?
That is up to you, my friend.
Okay, we got to figure that out. Either Friday evening or Saturday, but we will have Saturday morning. We will have a post-game show like we normally do going into the weekend, regardless of what happens in this Bears-Eagles game. It's a huge game. We got to give it to you. Of course, we will, as always. And that's the next time we will talk to you. So enjoy the football. Enjoy the game Friday. And we will talk to you afterwards on our Hoge and Jahns postgame.
See ya.